Hey guys, it's Tiffany, and you found me on the Wise Skies channel. I'm here to do Tarot Friday for September 2nd, 2022. I like to start out with a little bit of astrology nuggets, and then we'll go into your readings. So every sign, Aries through Pisces, is going to get a little card reading. Today, this morning, I'm using the Robin Wood Tarot. It's kind of this Celtic looking deck. And before we get going, your astrology nuggets for next week are going to be that Venus is going to move into Virgo for about a month. Venus will move into Virgo on September 5th. And so, Venus is the planet that we like to associate with love and beauty and luxury and money and this sense of like sensuality, right? And Virgo is the sign, it's an earth sign, right? So I like to think of the Empress card and that earthy kind of Stevie Nicks energy. But Virgo, there's a sense of refinement and focus and things being really polished. So you might find over the next month that you're kind of polishing things up. Krishna Das has a great talk on polishing the mirrors of our heart, right? The other day I was walking and I had this like aha, like this God moment where I was understanding that the only judgments we really have are judgments on ourselves, right? And that's kind of a Venus and Virgo thought to have. That whole saying, if you're pointing the finger, there's three pointing back at you. That's kind of what it is. It's like if you notice that you're having a judgment on something or about someone, it really is that a reflection of a judgment you might have about yourself. Maybe you hear the sirens going. We have in the HD transits, the gate of crisis has been activated for about a year, and we are going to be talking about more of the HD transits. You might have seen them in my astrology forecasts. We're toying with the idea of having an HD calendar. Like if you've seen our astrology calendar, we're talking about doing one for HD transits too. So if that is interesting to you, please let me know. Okay, so that's like a signature event in the astrology that you'll see next week is Venus and Virgo and the gate of crisis. Mercury is going to retrograde on September 10th, which I believe is a Saturday. And I want you to be aware of that, right? Because it's nice to know that it is a time to polish and revamp and revise and redo and edit what in Libra, our relationships, how we relate to each other, how we communicate with each other, how we spend time together, how we respect each other, things like this. It's interesting to me because Mercury retrograde on the 10th falls on the full moon, in 17 degrees of Pisces. And the lunar story with this moon phase or moon sign family, right? The full moon in Pisces is stage 3 of a 4-act play. So I want to give you some dates to look back on. So maybe get your journal out and take a few little notes. This full moon is September 10th. It's a full moon in Pisces. The Sabian symbol that goes with it, you read the Sabian symbol for the degree up. So 18 is a gigantic tent. And this is rich with symbology for me personally. And so I want you to spend a little time, journaling, letting something be illuminated for you. So if we look at this as a 4-act play, we're talking about the 3rd act. The first act began in March of 2021. There was a new moon in 23 degrees of Pisces. So where something started, the seed was planted for this full moon was back in March of 2021. And then the second peg would be December 11th of 2021. There was a first quarter moon in 19 degrees of Pisces. So that's when things really kicked off, got energized, activated, something shifted into gear. And now here we are in the September 10th energy of the full moon in Pisces, and something is illuminated. Things are culminated. Things are really gathering there because Mercury is retrograde. Maybe you'll reassess and adjust something, right? And then this cycle, this moon phase cycle family will complete June 10th of 2023. So next summer. So something that's really illuminated for you that you're adjusting and pivoting is part of this broader 2.5-year cycle that will end next summer in June. Okay, so those are your astro nuggets to be aware of. Of course, everybody experiences them differently depending on where they fall in your chart. We've got our Midheaven workshop with the Astro Auntie, Sarah Harar, coming on September 12th. Please don't miss it. It is such a gift that we get to have her as a teacher. She is an amazing astrologer. You're going to want to take her class. And again, that's September 12th. So if you're a member, it's included. You don't have to do anything extra. I'll send you the link. And if you're a non-member and you want to drop in, you can buy a ticket, and I'll put the link in the comments for you guys in the description. And the last little housekeeping announcement before we do the readings is our Psychic Catalyst group just met. The free open house just happened. I'll link the video so you guys can watch it. We learned how to get times, how to get the win of things. And our Psychic Catalyst group starts on Tuesday the 13th. So if that appeals to you, we're going to do this for 7 Tuesdays in a row at noon Central. I'll send everybody the replays, and we would love, love, love to have you. You can do a $22 drop-in and come to anyone, anytime, or you can buy a bundle and save 30% for $108. So if that appeals, we would love to have you. I was blown away. They guessed my birthday, my mom's birthday, my grandmom's birthday, my anniversary, all kinds of like significant events. Like it really works. So we would love, love, love to have you. All right, let's start with Aries. Just clearing the deck for Aries. I haven't played with this deck in years, and it's the one that called to me, and the sun is what fell out. So Aries, I want you to focus on the opportunities in front of you. The sun card is about feeling good. It's about having health and vitality. And so just making choices that really give you that full health and vitality are going to serve you way better than if you are focusing on an old thought or habit that isn't going to produce this sense of health and vitality. The sun is a yes, it's a win. It's moving forward. It's making hay while the sun shines. It's about seizing the day. It's like that carpe diem kind of feeling. It's about, there's a certain innocence and hope to this card too. That things are going to be okay. And so adopting that attitude of faith and hope and purity, reminding yourself that you have an innocence about you, right? Like there's that inner child in there that just wants to come out and play. And so maybe there's a message for you with that. Okay, let's clear the deck for our Taurus. What is it that our Taurus needs to hear for the weekend ahead? Just some simple advice or guidance. The death card, everybody wants that one, right? So the death card, right? There's an ending going on, a cycle that's coming to completion, something that you got to let go of that you haven't. Maybe you've been holding on to something a little too long. Maybe there's something that is dying on the vine that you haven't fed or watered appropriately. So there's a message here for you, whether you need to revive something because we're entering that Mercury retrograde period, or whether you really just need to let something go. You know, whether you've hung on to something too long and it's almost like dragging you down. I want to recommend also Lisa Williams' book, Survival of the Soul. It is the best book on death and dying and the dying process and where souls go and the journey into the afterlife. It really resonates with me. And so if any of you are facing fears of death, or you're in a profession where there's a lot of death, of course, that would, or if you're just having like questions about that, I want to recommend that book for you guys. Okay, let's clear the deck for Geminis. What is it that our Geminis need to hear for the weekend ahead? Some practical advice or guidance. Okay. 3 of Cups. This is to me, it's a very Gemini feeling card because it's like all are welcome. Everybody can come to the party. You know, this is a social butterfly type of a card. It's going to the festival. It's hanging out with friends. It's popping around and doing stuff. It can be a card of discomfort if you are trying to have one-on-one time in your relationship, because it's like interrupted time, really. Too many cooks in the kitchen, 3 in a relationship. This can be you, a person, and an animal that you're bringing into the mix. It can be when somebody is seeing somebody else on the side, right? And so there's lots of meanings for this card. But ultimately, I would, if we're just doing at a glance, broad reading for the Geminis watching, I would say this would be an indicator to have some kind of celebration with friends this weekend, being a little bit social, how you want to be. Maybe it's a relaxed kind of a way, but this is a card of connection for sure. Okay. And then let's clear for our Cancers. What is it that our Cancers need to clear for the weekend ahead? Some practical advice or guidance. Also the Death card. Sorry, everyone. All right, so Cancers and Taurus both getting a message about death, ending, closure, facing this full moon with clarity, with eyes wide open. What is really done? What have you hung on to a little too long? What's dying on the vine that you're trying to prevent, that you're like enabling or getting in the way of the process, right? Something that just needs to be, you need to just be done with something, right? And so are you being controlling because you're afraid of losing something? Are you afraid of losing someone? I just recommended the book Survival of the Soul by Lisa Williams. And so if any of you Cancers are facing death or having experiences where you're trying to learn more about the afterlife, it's a really great book to have in your shelf. So check that one out. And just be aware of what's culminating in this full moon energy and what needs a readjustment, right? Maybe you planted the roses in shade and they need to be in full sun. Doesn't have to be dramatic, but it might be. So my heart is with you guys. Let's clear for our Leos and just see what it is that our Leos need to hear for the weekend ahead. And practical advice or guidance that helps them on their path. 10 of Swords. Okay, so Leos, some of you guys feeling stabbed in the back. Some of you guys feeling too much information is coming in and it's like overload, you know. Deborah taught this card to me is the worst is over. Tell them the worst is over, right? So Leos, the worst is over. Maybe you've been through just an intense amount of work. Maybe you did it to yourself. I don't know. But the idea here is this is a time to rest and not get a whole lot of different advice. Maybe you signed up for a bunch of classes and it just was like a little too stimulating for a minute there. Maybe somebody wasn't who you thought they were, right? Maybe you put too much hope in somebody that didn't necessarily earn that. But the idea here, Leo, is to rest this weekend and spend some time in your own aura. I think you need a little reset away from other people's ideas, advice, and energy. So even if it's a small reset, I think that will be helpful to you. Okay, let's clear the deck for, okay, our Virgos. The Chariot is what flew out at me. I don't know if you could see that with the angle, but the Chariot, I love this card because it's so rich to describe. Venus is in your sign, Virgo, so it's going to be close to your sun. And so letting yourself just explore and experience all things Venus, like the luxury of life. Mercury is retrograde in Libra, right? So, or it will be soon. And so having this idea of reciprocity, of balance in relationships matches very nicely with your card here, Virgos. The Chariot is about moving forward. It's a yes, it's a victory, it's a win, but you can't move forward without the help of others. And so this reminds me, I mean, you can, right? You can, but this card is about collaboration and teamwork. And so there's a great Joe Dispenza quote I like to use a lot, and it's about you don't have to create it, but you do have to design it, right? And so you don't have to do all the things, but you do have to kind of get in the design mind, right? And then you can let the great mind bring things to you. So this is, it also reminds me of passenger consciousness, right? So whether you are the chariot driver or the horses, there has to be a relationship. And as we're under this Mercury retrograde window in Libra, the sign of relationship and partnerships, I would encourage you to reassess that. Maybe there's a new partner coming into your life. Maybe there's an ally that you haven't considered in the past. Maybe there's somebody you can reach out to and ask for help. I did that recently and it was a really positive experience. So I realized, I didn't have to do everything alone. I could ask for help, and I did. And not everybody said yes, but some people did. And I just had that positive experience of asking for help and people being willing to help. You might offer help too, right? It could go both ways. If you're doing okay and you don't need anything right at the moment, maybe there's somebody in your life that could use a helping hand. So lots of rich symbology, the black and the white horses, you can look that up and read about that. There's the yin and the yang sign, and there's lots of symbology in this card. But ultimately, it's about moving forward with help, right? Okay, so after Virgo comes Libra. Mercury is retrograde, or will be soon, in your sign, Libra. So this reading is for our Libras. Just clearing for any Libras watching, asking what it is they need to hear, as Mercury will be going back and forth over your sun sign, right? Or if you're watching for your moon sign. Okay. Libra is getting the card of Judgment. Ooh, isn't that a sexy Judgment card? The Phoenix rising. The Judgment card is also like this, are you ready to meet your maker type of a vibe. It's like, have you tied up all of the loose ends? Are there some amends that you need to make? Forgiveness, right? Forgiveness is an inside job. We don't really, if we forgive others, we've let them off the hook, and then what? You know what I mean? Like, there's something to explore with forgiveness when we get the Judgment card. Okay, so Libras, the Judgment card is also about legal issues, right? Legal issues, something that could be misconstrued on paper. So we want to just really review contracts with great detail, and try to not pass judgment. Like that thing that I said about Venus and Virgo, it's like, if the only judgment we really have is on ourselves. And so a lot of self-examination, self-inquiry, why am I having that thought? You know, what does it stem from? And if I were to shed my mortal coil today, do I feel good about the state of affairs, of the state of my relationships, the way that I have handled myself, you know? And so bigger questions to ask. I know I've been recommending it a lot, but in case you're not watching all of the other signs, Survival of the Soul by Lisa Williams is a great book that helps you understand what happens in the afterlife. And it might be worth picking up, you know? Okay, after Libras comes Scorpios. Just clearing the deck for Scorpios. What is it that our Scorpios need to hear for this weekend ahead? The Ace of Cups fell out. So just follow your heart, Scorpio. Just follow your heart. You don't have to worry about what you're supposed to do, or what, if you can't control it, you can't cure it, you didn't cause it, you can't fix it. Surrender and just follow your heart, right? The Ace of Cups, the aces generally last with you for a full year. So something like a new sense of love, right? Or a renewed sense of love in your current partnership with Mercury retrograde in Libra, right? So the sign of relationships. And so I feel like some of you might be on a path for experiencing love in a new way. You might be reigniting love with your current partner, or you might be having a new experience, like a new relationship. But either way, just follow your heart. You actually know what to do. You were born wise. And when we ignore our hearts, we usually suffer for that, right? So I would say, Scorpio, follow your heart, do what's most loving for you and everybody involved, and just try to come from the heart with all that you're doing. You could do some yoga, like to put your heart over your head. You could hang your head off the back of the bed, and so the heart lifts. You could do some headstands. You could do something to let the heart kind of be the highest point in the body, and that can change the blood flow and the circulation and help you get a different perspective sometimes. Okay, let's clear for Sagittarius. This is the Sagittarius reading for the weekend ahead. Some practical advice or guidance for any of our Sages watching. Okay. All right, we get the King of Swords. You can see that the King of Swords has had to take a stand against something. He's had to just be really clear and firm. The King of Swords is a card of honesty, of being direct, of being clear, of being concise, and really, you know, it can be a harsh card, right? And so whether you are needing to be harsh or whether somebody's being harsh with you, at the end of the day, it's like the card of the truth bomb, right? So whatever is true, whatever is honest for you, whatever is bubbling up inside of you that needs to be said, it's like, just stick with the truth, right? The King of Swords for our Sagittarius too, if there's something that you haven't said that you've been stifling, right? This could be a great opportunity to journal a little bit this weekend and figure out what feels unsaid or what feels untrue to you, so that you can help figure out what feels true and correct for you. This doesn't mean that you have to go out there and have the conversation. It just means to get clear in yourself as like kind of like a self-healing activity, to get it out of your head and onto paper. Because it can feel very dense. This card can feel like really dense in the mental realm. And so sometimes expressing that on paper helps lighten it a little bit. Doing like talk therapy with a friend, just saying like, I don't need you to fix anything. I just need to get some of this out of my system. Can you witness my conversation with myself? You know what I mean? Something like that. Okay, so let's look at Capricorn, right? Yeah, Capricorn. What is it that our Capricorns need to hear for the weekend ahead? Some simple advice or guidance for our Capricorns. Wheel of Fortune. Isn't that a beautiful card? Looks like a game show card from like the 70s. So Capricorn, the Wheel of Fortune turning in your favor, maybe. So we've got Pluto and Capricorn, right? Like we've got like this, there's an intensity in your sign that's been in your sign for a long time, that Pluto will move out of Capricorn eventually, right? Like it will move into Aquarius, and then we'll have a whole new set of interesting dynamics. But right now there's still this intensity for you Capricorns, right? And the Wheel of Fortune indicates a need to roll the dice, to take a chance, to like strengthen the muscles of going for it. It doesn't necessarily ensure that going for it will work out, but there, it looks like there's something that you have been a little bit too cautious on, which is weird advice, right? Like Capricorn, like all the Capricorn energy, you want to be conservative and responsible and think ahead and plan and long-term thinking, but this isn't really a card of that. So maybe this weekend, Capricorn, you can let yourself off the hook, try something new, take a chance, take a risk, and maybe that chance you take is on yourself, okay? All right, and after our Capricorn readings, let's do Aquarius. So what is it that our Aquarius need to hear for the weekend ahead? Just some practical advice or guidance for our Aquarius. Okay. Wow. So this is the third time we pulled the death card. So I'm going to say the same thing. And I think who else got it was Cancer and Taurus, but now we are in Aquarius. And so this can be where something has died on the vine. It didn't get the nutrition it needed. And that's okay. You know, the death card in this full moon energy coming up on September 10th, like something needs to be adjusted anyways. The foundation is like not set up for success, and so something needs to die so that it can be rebuilt. This is a card of a turning point. You know, it's a turning point is another way of looking at it. So what have you held on to too long that like that died, but you're still trying to make it work? You know what I mean? This is a card of letting go, of surrender, of acceptance, and of facing your own death, facing your own thoughts about death, your own fears about death. And so I have recommended this book to almost every sign this weekend, but it's Survival of the Soul by Lisa Williams. So if you're curious about the afterlife and where souls go on their journey, that's the book I like to recommend, The Survival of the Soul. Okay. All right. After Aquarius, we get Pisces. So let's just pull the deck for Pisces and see what it is our Pisces need to hear for the weekend ahead. Some practical advice or guidance for the Pisces reading. Okay, the Strength card. So the Strength card, you'll see a lady with a lion. Often you'll see the infinity symbol too. This is a card, Pisces, of endurance, of emotional endurance, of perseverance. This is not an easy time, so we're trying to we just want to remind ourselves, right? Like life doesn't get better, but we do, or we want to get better, not bitter, right? The Strength card is like, just keep a slow and steady pace. Don't try to change a whole lot right now. Don't try to move big mountains overnight. Don't do anything that's like super combustible and big right now. This is like slow and steady perseverance, you know, and taking good care of your soul and your emotional health, right? Okay, let's look at the universal reading for everybody watching. Just some practical advice or guidance that helps folks get through their weekend in a different prism of light, one they might not have considered or seen before. Just a universal reading for everybody watching. Okay. What would Spirit like to share with you? I got the Emperor, and this card came out too, the Page of Swords. So look, this is the one that was on top. This was the one that was underneath. The Emperor is about your work, your authority, your job, a sense of leadership in your life, a sense of who's the boss, right? And so this might be a time, right, when the Page of Swords comes in with a message, even from the youth, right? This could be a message from somebody younger than you. Maybe you have a boss that's younger than you and you don't really like that. Maybe you need a boss that's younger than you. But the idea here is like, it's like to just lighten up a little bit is what I would say. You know, you don't have to take yourself quite so seriously. You don't have to take work quite so seriously. If you are working through the weekend, try to do it with some childlike wonder and fun, and try to add something to the workflow that makes it like a little bit more creative experience. Maybe there's a new playlist you want to listen to, or you know what I mean? Like make it a little bit more fun for you. But the idea here is something is changing with your career, with your perspective about your career. Something's pivoting. You are reassessing the whole thing. And you've probably been reassessing the whole thing for a while, right? And so I want to like use this as an opportunity to remind you to come to our September 12th workshop with Sarah El-Harar, the Astro Auntie, who's teaching us about the midheaven and where our purpose and our career and our skills and our calling meet, which is the very, very top of your astrology chart. So I don't know. I mean, I think that this is a reminder to look at those ways that those three things intersect. You know what I mean? Your skills, your purpose, your calling, your work. Something's pivoting for you, right? Under the Mercury retrograde skies, under this big full moon. Some of you will have that experience of feeling like enough is enough. Some of you will have the experience that you're starting something new with your career and it feels like a little bit more uplifting. And so go in the direction that feels like youthful, uplifting, a little bit more true to yourself, right? That's really the only one you need to be true to anyway. So something, realigning your job with something that's more true to yourself. That could be within your current job or a new job. But that, I think I finally got to the message there. Aligning yourself with, like aligning your career with your true self somehow, some way, some adjustments. You might not even have to do anything. Just watch the pivot happen. Just observe and see if you notice anything. Okay, guys, I hope you have a great weekend. I'm Tiffany. We're at wiseskiescollective.com. We've got workshops and memberships and readings. We're a metaphysical counseling company. We offer one-on-one counseling through psychic mediumship, through human design, astrology, Akashic records, tarot. We offer our membership for ongoing training and support and resources. I'm really obviously excited about the workshops that we have going on with the Midheaven with Sarah on the 12th and Psychic Catalyst with me starting on the 13th. On the 13th, I'm going to teach you how to pick up locations psychically. So hope to see you around the community. And until next time, thanks for being here. Please like and subscribe and share if these messages resonate with you. And we'll see you next time.